The existing model doesn't make any sense. It does not make sense for creative agencies. It does not make sense for startups. It does not make sense for think tanks. It does not make sense for publications. It does not make sense for anywhere where the next generation is trying to do creative work, entrepreneurial work, or information-based work. And so why are we doing this? Well, because of tradition. And tradition is easy. Tradition is comforting. Tradition is ultimately limiting. It stifles innovation. It's doing things because that's the way it's always been done. But let me tell you, doing things because that's the way it's always been done is a horrible, horrible reason to continue doing anything. And so it behooves managers of the next generation to develop a focus on management with a distinctly theory Y approach. In order to understand and appreciate theory Y, you first have to understand and appreciate theory X. Theory X assumes a lot of things. It assumes that employees are lazy, that they avoid work, and that they actually dislike work. It's kind of like when your parents assigned you tasks or chores when you were younger, do the lawn, do the dishes, and you'd rather be doing other things. Theory Y assumes the complete opposite. Theory Y assumes that employees are ambitious, that they're self-motivated, that they exercise self-control, and that they actually enjoy their physical and mental duties. And that given the proper conditions, an employer operating within a Theory Y framework can actually help their employees achieve the most elusive part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that little point at the top of the triangle, self-actualization. But that's all given the proper conditions. So what do those proper conditions look like? Well, let me tell you about how I run my ships. I start from a place of 100% trust. I provide my teams with their areas of responsibility. They have their goals, they have their deadlines. And I assume that they're here for the right reason and that they want to work and that they will do good work. I provide them with space, physical and otherwise. Now, we have an office, yes. You're not physically expected to be there. You can work from the office, you can work from home, you can be in Bermuda with your shorts on for all I care. As long as work is getting done on time and to a high degree of quality, why is there any need for me to actually track your hours? It's dehumanizing, it's degrading. And I believe in co-creation. I believe in building things together. I simply am not going to assign you something and expect you to do it, let alone do a good job. I'd rather invest you emotionally in the process of producing whatever it is that we're producing. And then I believe in leadership. This is something I've resisted for a long time. But my teams have told me time and again, Hamza, we need somebody to be there who's a steward, who's going to guide us, who's going to provide us with insulation from the more harsh realities of the organization and the industry, frankly. And I believe in culture. I believe that people want to show up to a workplace that doesn't feel like a workplace, that feels more like a community, where they can be among friends, where they can bring their whole selves to work, something I've really learned and appreciated with my time at Ryerson SA. And I believe that we should create a workplace that is conducive to doing excellent work. And when all of these proper conditions are met, what happens? We do work that we're proud of. We're more creative. We discover meaning and fulfillment. We strike work-life blend, and I would hope that we ultimately achieve happiness. I'm optimistic about the next generation because not only can we break the cycle, I believe we will break the cycle of doing things the way they've always been done. And it's going to come from understanding a fundamental difference between outcomes and outputs. And this quote in particular reminds me of this. It underscores this idea so well. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry said, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up people to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea. A focus on outcomes versus mere outputs. Now, I managed my first creative team at the age of 21, and this was a particularly challenging team to manage. It was comprised of student staff, and anyone who's managed student staff knows what a Herculean chore it is to get them to part with their time, energy, and attention. They've got so much going on in their lives. The rigors of academia, the trials and tribulations of being a student, family, friends, co-curricular activities, other job opportunities. And if you're not careful about intentionally engaging them, what you get is diminished capacity. And so by design, I had to become the laissez-faire, hands-off manager that I am today. Without any formal training or education, or blueprint for that matter, I deferred to the closest blueprint available to me at the time. The teachings of a man named Sean Carter. Some of you might know him as Jay-Z. I've listened to all of his music. I've read interviews. I've watched interviews. I've read books by him, about him. And I've always been in such awe of the way he's built up Rock Nation, one of the most successful labels of our time. He's a leader who manages other leaders. He manages the likes of Kanye West, Rihanna, J. Cole, the list goes on. And he does so with a distinct focus on individuals. He doesn't just see the sum, he sees individuals. He sees a team of artists. People who are unique, have their own ambitions, who want to succeed on their own terms. And he nourishes that, and he creates an environment that has all of the aforementioned conditions. Like Jay, I work with people who want to make classic albums. I work with people who want to win Grammys. I work with people who want to move the needle forward and push boundaries. I work with people who are genuinely animated by their work. I suppose you could say I started the game on hard mode. One of the first people that I ever had to manage was significantly older than I was, more skilled, and more wise. And naturally, I was intimidated. I was 21 at the time. I could barely manage myself. How was I going to manage this person? And so I managed him the best way that I knew how. I didn't. I told him, you're an adult, and you're perfectly capable of managing yourself. All I can really do is manage your workflow and your priorities. And if you're down with that, we can do some amazing things together. And that gave me the wind in my sails to manage my next creative team. At the age of 24, at Ryerson University, I managed a student team that was significantly larger than my first team. In fact, it was so large, I don't remember a single meeting where we were all physically present. I sometimes had to do the same meeting twice or 3 times, and each time there were disembodied heads around the table, dialing in via FaceTime and Google Hangout. And it was around this time that I really had to embrace the use of technology to foster a sense of community and collaboration. And at 28, nothing has really changed. I'm now managing full-time staff, and I'm managing them the exact same way that I manage my part-time staff, my student staff. It's by recognizing their unique behaviors and expectations, and not just meeting them halfway, meeting them all the way, modifying the way I work to fit them versus the other way around. Now, you're wondering, has it worked? Hamza, this seems too good to be true. It's some sort of utopian workplace. I mean, it's not without its bumps, but yes, it does work. I'm on my 5th creative team now. People that have worked for me, rather with me, have graduated on to work at places that are reputable organizations, large agencies, leading publications, media companies. We've won regional and national awards. And on the agency front, we've worked with clients off the jump that some agencies don't pursue until 4, 5, 10 years down the road. So yes, it does work. But how does it work, Hamza? How did this all happen? Well, with a lot of training, a lot of support, and a lot of guidance from Jigaman. Like Jay, I raised the bar. I believe that if you want to do your best work, if you want your team to do their best work, you have to bring out the best in yourself. To bring out the best in your team, you have to bring out the best in yourself. I don't stand behind my team and say, go. I stand in front of them and say, let's go. I believe that you have to go to bat for your team. When people work with you, they want to know that they're working with somebody that has their back, that's going to go to bat for them no matter what. I provide training and mentorship. I believe that if